where they get him so young or they just get him such a bad contract, they can't go anywhere. Like they're stuck. And I feel like Justin Bieber is fucking stuck. So he sold to get out of debt. But in that video that we watched, he still owes them a tour, probably some projects, which is why we're seeing the smear campaign. Cause he's like, fuck you, I'm not gonna show up. Like I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do. I'm gonna live. I'm rich. And they're like, nope, we'll fucking harass you till you do it.
His parents definitely sold him down the road because he was like 8 years old when Usher found him. He probably signed a deal that was horrid.
Welcome to the Real OShow. I'm Zachary. Joining me as always is my partner in crime, my brother Joshua.
And on today's episode, we talk why the music industry is going after Justin Bieber, Drake being the petty king, Kanye live streaming, and a lot more.
They paper getters, they want money more than they want fame shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. He going hard for the hand. We gonna stack till we jaded.
This is a great interview. They doing their thing.
Welcome back, everybody. I want to start the show off by highlighting a show that I just discovered. It's brand new on Apple TV. This is not a paid promotion. This is just a honest plug that I found. Everyone likes being put onto a show. And Zachary, I just discovered the show called The Studio. Seth Rogan directs it. He helped write it. The comparable that I gave you was it's like The Office, but if The Office was in a studio and instead of a cheap docuseries, it's shot very professional, very cinematic. And I don't want to say it's just The Office because The Office is more funny, more punchlines. This has like humor, but it's like a different type of humor of like this is a fucked up world kind of humor. And it runs a little deeper and it obviously skips around, but it is the meme of a studio. Seth Rogen is one of the few people that can actually have a show where they meme how Hollywood actually is. And that's why I consider it like The Office. And I also compare it to The Office because it's in one location. It's only at the studio. They never leave the studio.
I would say The Office is probably one of the first shows. There might be more. I just haven't seen. I'm not like a historian on TV shows, but The Office inspired Shane Gillis' TV show Tires, which is one location. Yeah. Now the studio. The Office was brilliant because it was actually the lower version of how a TV show is actually shot.
Yeah.
And now back in the day, like that kind of was like good quality, but it was scrappy. I think The Office, that type of quality would do numbers today.
Well, I think it goes back to it because like if you look at like the classic shows, like the old back, so you go to like Friends, for example, or like How I Met Your Mother, there's always like the bar location. There's always a few locations. I don't know what it is, but something about this show, everything is shot elongated. So like the scenes are all like long. So it's like he'll be like walking somewhere, talking to someone, then it's like back to someone else. And the way they shoot this is incredible. For example, like the first episode, Seth Rogen becomes the studio head. And the first thing he has to do is like sell his soul to do it. And they have to make a movie about Kool-Aid.
Do people like laugh in the show? Like, is it like funny or like it just makes you laugh?
No. It's a comedy.
But do they laugh in the show?
Not so much. Not like they're not like it's kind of like more of like a laugh at your pain type of show.
Got it.
And there's just a lot of like funny shit that happens like in the content in that space when you're working with crazy people, and when you get to like actors and executives and studio heads, you're talking about like the craziest people in the world. And it's just so fucking funny how they depict it, and how like his first job is he wants to be like this crazy studio head, make like great, brilliant movies. And the first movie he has to make to be the studio head is a Kool-Aid movie. And so it's like selling out all of his things about like, I want to make great movies. And it's like a fucking Kool-Aid. Like that's your great movie. And then, so he eventually gets Martin Scorsese to write a Johnstown script because the whole punchline is at the end. It's Kool-Aid. They drink the Kool-Aid, they all die. So then he's like, fuck, I'm going to have this great script. And he ends up not doing it because he knows the studio heads, the guy who owns the studio, is not going to like it. So he's going to get fired. So he ends up going the Captain Underpants route, the guy who did Captain Underpants, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, it's kind of funny. And he ends up screwing over Martin Scorsese, who basically blacklists him, who's like, this will be my last movie. And shout out to Martin Scorsese because he has a great acting role in this. But there's tons of great actors, tons of good shit. And to be honest with you, Apple TV has kind of been on a run a little bit of like good TV shows. They're kind of almost coming on like as the HBO of shows.
Interesting. That's an interesting take, but I want to go all the way back where you're talking about how everything's filmed like elongated. And I think the reason that's been happening more because now we're in like the social media age where everything's clean cut, like our videos, our green screens, everything's clean cut, like fast. You're kind of on to the next thing. I think when it's elongated, one, I think the human brain's like, oh, there's going to be a cut here. And when there's not, you're like, okay, what's going on? And there's also, when it's like that, it feels almost like behind the scenes. It feels secretive. It's like telling you like, okay, like something else is about to happen. So there's like the mystery of it where you're like, oh, what can happen? But that's interesting.
It's almost like an anxiety of it too. It's like an anxiety of the show of like, oh shit, like there's a scene where this guy's like, he's like trying to make it. Have you ever had like a dream where you're like, you can't do the things, like everything you do like puts you back 10 steps and you like can't get to the thing you need to do? There's a scene in it where one of the guys is trying to make a meeting with one of the directors that they want. And everything he does is just like, car's fucked up, can't park there, running there, guy fucking knocks him with stuff, and he's like running into guys, and it's like this whole, you're on the whole path of it, and it's like anxiety filled, but the way they shoot it, you're like, that's incredible.
But most people aren't thinking about how it's shot.
No,
you're
and
thinking about how it's shot.
It's funny because I talk to other people at work, and some people were like, I don't like it, gives me anxiety, and I'm like, no. That was the reason that caught me. Like from the second you watch it, you're like, oh shit, this is different. It's like shot like a movie. And that's what I like about it, because TV shows aren't shot like movies, like very cinematically, and like it's hard to explain to like go really deep into it, but great show.
I've never been on Apple TV before, ever.
Like Ted Lasso.
Never.
There's another one. There's also another one that's like the number one. I don't know the show name, but it's got a good premise to it.
Interesting.
But they're just done really well. Like that's why when I see like an HBO show, you're just like, even if it's not what I like, it's still shot good. The actors in it are still good. Like I always look at everything as how are the side actors? Because on TV shows, some of the side characters are like, oh, this is a bad acting job. But when you get to like HBO, Apple TV, they don't really spare they don't spare an expense.
Why hasn't Apple TV just come out with a fucking TV?
I was just listening to a Mark Zuckerberg on Theo Von. And even the thought of like a screen, like, oh, I want to go watch something, here's a screen, is going to go away. It's going to be a glass. It's going to be a hologram. It's all going to be augmented reality. It's not like screens aren't going to be a thing. Like he was saying very soon, screens are going to be just something in the past that it's like when we think about like a CD player now or like a VHS, like that's Stone Age shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's how screens are going to be.
I think that's just how the internet, and you kind of hear it about Bitcoin too, where it's just like, it's the compound interest where it's like nothing, and then it's like the biggest thing in the world. It kind of jumps. But I'd be curious, was that his interview with Theo Von?
Yeah.
He was talking about?
Which is kind of
I
funny.
never listened to it.
It was like really funny because he talks about like doesn't drink coffee. He only drinks coffee on vacation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's a fucking robot.
That's
why people were memeing it. They were like pretend like there's a guy in the corner who's like trying to teach Mark Zuckerberg how to be normal. So he's in there like, hey, just tell me drink coffee. And he's like, no, I never had coffee. Like he's like, it's just like funny ass shit. But
I find that insane to never drink coffee.
Some people are just like wired for it.
Interesting.
And he might be one of those guys. I mean, clearly he's a billionaire, so he's clearly wired for it.
I do want to transition. Joshua, you sent me something super interesting about Justin Bieber and Scooter Braun and how essentially his catalog or he owes this business. What was the business again? HYBE. Yeah.
HYBE.
Which is a Korean pop.
Yeah, it's a K-pop.
They own all
giant.
Korean pop, and obviously they're trying to break into America. And essentially Scooter Braun sold his label, his publishing, his catalog, because he wasn't really managing anybody, but sold whatever he owned, his royalties. And obviously most of that was Justin Bieber, which is probably one of the top 3 catalogs to own in this day and age.
But what happened was, this happened back in 2021. Scooter Braun sold his whole catalog of stuff that he owned, which was like Big Machine Records, Ignite, some other bullshit, things that owned like Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, a ton of other things. He sold that to HYBE in 2021 for a rumored $1 billion. What that also did was put him on the board of HYBE. Now, somewhere in like 2023, Justin Bieber sold his catalog for like a couple $100 million. Now, we watched a video earlier today with Candace Owens and I forget the other guy's name. Super good. This is bad podcasting because I forgot the guy's name. But they talk about how the reason why Justin Bieber is getting blacklisted on media right now and is not dropping music is because back in his tour before COVID, he was advanced tens to hundreds of millions of dollars. He didn't actually do the tour because he got COVID and then some other things happened to him where his face stopped working. So he was like, oh, we have insurance for this. It should be covered. And the label was like, no, actually, you broke your contract. You owe us all this money now. So, and now Justin Bieber clearly doesn't like those people and is like, fuck you guys, I'm not going to make music. And there's this huge rabbit hole. And now for some reason, there's a huge smear campaign going against Justin Bieber. Now they're alluding that it's with his clothing company that they are blocking from him making. Kanye West talked about this, how when he was doing a shoe deal, Adidas was mad at him about his music, whatever. And he was like, I won't let you use my music for Adidas. And so then they stopped. They're like, okay. And I think that's kind of what's happening with Justin Bieber.
It just shows when the machine's pushing you, eventually it turns against you. And it's funny how you sent this video because we've been seeing, especially at least on like my Twitter, you've been seeing like Justin Bieber everywhere, like cameras in his face.
But
as
that's
soon as
the
he walks
smear
up.
campaign.
Yes, of course. Listen, of course it is. But it's funny because obviously everything loops around. And I remember when he sold his catalog, I was like, $200 million is a lot of money. Like, make your money when you can make it. Obviously, 2021 was the time with like the market was kind of shooting up and everybody was like, what's going to like happen with the world? So it kind of made sense. Now, full circle, makes sense why he sold his publishing, but I imagine he sold because he owed them a lot of money.
Well,
which is why he sold it.
So I asked ChatGPT, why would the label hold Justin Bieber's life back? Because really what they're doing is they're trying to control his whole life. If he can't drop a clothing company and your music label is saying, we're going to block that, and he's in a quote, apparently he's in secret litigation. That is not confirmed, but this is what some insiders are saying, that he's in secret litigation. So ChatGPT said it could be one, contract obligations, like Zachary just said. He's under contract, still owes them a label, still could owe them tens of millions of dollars. And they're like, until you recoup that, we're going to control what you do. Two, they could have a non-compete clause in that contract, which is basically saying he can't do nothing. Like they could control his rights to do clothing for some weird reason. Three, which is financial leverage. Again, he could owe them a ton of fucking money, and they need to recoup that money because, again, if they advance you money, that's just a bad interest loan. And four, reputation and management, which essentially is where we're coming from the smear campaign. They're trying to fuck with his reputation to be like, stand back in line or we will end you socially, which is why like when he was at Coachella, you know how many videos went around of him just like smoking the doobie looking fucked up? That was coursed. They planted that, not planted because he was obviously smoking, having a good time, but it's like the things they chose to do, like they probably had a camera on him 24/7 trying to catch him doing something wrong.
I mean, it says he sold his rights to Hypnosis.
Yeah, Hypnosis. Yeah, it's
which
Hypnosis.
is an investment, which doesn't sound like it's HYBE.
No, it's not. It's not HYBE.
HYBE.
No,
like
it's not.
It doesn't sound like it's
It's
that.
different.
So, but obviously, as we know how the world works, they're probably the same fucking company and they're partnered of some kind.
But what happened is what happens is I think so. Scooter Braun would own his catalog because again he managed him. He only would own him for so long, and that's why Scooter Braun went to be the chair of HYBE. One, he's doing it in the America division because he's trying to take over America. But the reason is Scooter Braun used to be a management where he owned a bunch of artists. He had a bunch of artists. Well, when he started getting a bad reputation and people were leaving him, he had no more artists left. And after Justin Bieber was kind of like, fuck you, Scooter, he had no one left. And I think over time, Justin recouped back his masters or enough of his masters where he had the right to sell them. He might not have owned all 100% of that. He might have owned 60% of it.
I mean,
but he
sold
had enough
290 songs.
But
is what he sold.
But he could have only owned 60% of it. He could have owned the majority of it and then sold it. And even if Scooter owned 10% of it, he couldn't say, no, you can't sell it. He would just have to get the money. So it is interesting. And it's a deep hole. But you start seeing like Justin Bieber is one of the biggest pop stars in the world, and he hasn't dropped music in fucking 5 years, and he's still the biggest. Everything he does is still in the limelight, which is crazy.
All of this just makes me appreciate Drake even more, honestly, because through all the bad shit, Drake is still the best. People still fuck with Drake, and Drake is still dropping music.
You know,
it just shows like the people who obviously Justin is single-handedly put my right hand up as one of the best artists ever. When I'm in my deathbed, I would say that. Probably top 3 ever. But what I think Justin failed on, and this is what I think happens, we talked about this before with like a Playboy Cardi or a Lil Uzi Vert, where they get him so young or they just get him such a bad contract, they can't go anywhere. Like they're stuck. And I feel like Justin Bieber is fucking stuck. So he sold to get out of debt. But in that video that we watched, it feels like the company, he still owes them a tour, probably some projects, or some like fucking pop-up events. Like he owes the company something, which is why we're seeing the smear campaign, because he's like, fuck you, I'm not going to show up. Like I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. I'm going to live. I'm rich. And they're like, no, we'll fucking harass you till you do it.
It's his parents definitely sold him down the road because he was like 8 years old when Usher found him, and he probably signed a deal that was horrid for what Justin actually brings to the table. But I wanted to kind of transition there because we were talking about Drake and you were saying how Drake's the greatest. I saw a video today and I sent it to you of Drake being the petty king. And Drake is the petty king for a lot of reasons, but there was a really funny video about it when him and 21 Savage dropped their album together. They did a whole fake publicity drop where they did Tiny Desk, Howard Stern, and Vogue magazine. Now, Howard Stern and Tiny Desk were like, great, Drake gave us free publicity, thanks. Vogue, on the other hand, sued Drake and 21 Savage. And it was obviously a serious thing because they settled outside of court. Now, to show how petty Drake is, he names his Australian tour the Anita Maxwin Tour. Now, for context here, the person who runs Vogue, the editor-in-chief, is Anna Wintour, okay? This lady has a bob cut and wears glasses a lot of times. Drake's Anita Maxwin Tour was a anime girl with a bob haircut, big glasses, just like Anna Wintour. And if you take away Max and the IT from Anita, it's literally Anna Wintour. That's what literally the tour means. And it was kind of a meme at her. And he actually has like a demonic Anna Wintour on his set. So if you actually go to Drake's set and watch, he has some like old demonic white lady, which is her. And I just thought it was funny that why a Vogue of all people when Drake has one of the most famous lines about Vogue. Don't tell me that you model unless you've been in Vogue. And then they want to throw shade at him and sue him. Like, to me, that's kind of crazy. No?
Because it's an old institution that has like whatever they want to keep in place. But what it actually is Drake represents very anti-establishment by far. And him doing the fake press runs is actually against what every artist does, because what every artist does is, guess what they do? They do those press runs. The PR is booking them to do those press runs. They have to go to this show, do this short form content, do this podcast, this live interview. And Drake was like, fuck that. Let's just meme it. Like his whole thing on Howard Stern, like, I don't know if you remember the video, but they were talking about like what porn they liked. And Drake was like, I love watching Top. Like, I love watching Top. He's like, man, 21 loves reading books. Like, he's always reading books. Like, It's just like a fucking meme. And that's the pot. And I just want to finish this point. Like, Drake scares the establishment because he can meme and or be serious and get way more publicity than an actual institution can. Like, Drake posting a couple pictures on his Instagram does more than him being on Vogue magazine, besides of it being a resume builder and being a cool thing to like collect as us, or Drake being like, I was on Vogue. Like, him posting an Instagram picture is way more important than him being on Vogue magazine.
But I feel like Vogue actually asked Drake to be on the cover or have something to do with it. He turned it down and then memed it because in his actual post, he thanks Anna Wintour by name. And she's been the editor-in-chief since 1988. Drake has definitely rubbed shoulders with her a few times, and I feel like there was a shot. Like, Drake was just sending a shot because maybe she sent one at him behind the scenes, and then he was like, I'm just going to meme you and have the biggest post you guys have had in the last decade. and it's gonna be a meme. And I feel like that's where it almost comes from.
I also can see why people don't like Drake. Like on the high up, like as fans, like as average people, you should love Drake. Like if you don't like Drake, you don't get bitches, and or you're just sad at life.
You're a hater.
You're a hater.
Purely.
Don't get bitches, and you're sad at life. Yeah. Hater. But if you're like a celebrity, high level editor in chief for Vogue magazine, I could actually see why you don't like Drake, because Drake does a lot of petty shit and he sends a lot of shots. Now we don't know what's going behind closed doors where like people are probably sending some shots first, or like, bro, I'm fucking better than you. He's like, oh, watch this shit. I'm going to fucking make a viral bar about you and it's going to be all over social and people are going to post it under their pictures. So I can see why people hate Drake.
But I literally thought like in the moment when that happened, I literally thought when I knew all those were like meme posts, but I thought the Vogue thing literally came from the viral line of, don't tell me that you model unless you've been in Vogue. That I thought he was like doing a word, like a play on words, blah, blah, blah. But for them to take it the other way where they completely sue them made me feel weird. Now, there was a whole article with the Vogue shoot, so maybe the article is what they were pissed about. Maybe there was something in the article that rubbed them the wrong way. But to me, I'm like, if you are insert any brand and Drake wants to like meme it, because like for Tiny Desk, for example, Tiny Desk doesn't have the name brand of Vogue, but like everyone has seen a Tiny Desk concert, and for them to like meme that, Tiny Desk was loving it. They were like, fuck, this is great. Drake. Howard Stern, who's literally, he might be one of the most popular people for the older demographic, the, baby boomer demographic. Like, he is that guy. So again, he didn't take it personal. He didn't take it in a bad way at all. So there's obviously something under the surface that's more. I just thought it was interesting how deep it was, because when I saw the Anita Maxwell tour, I'm like, what is that? There's obviously something there. And even Drake was like memeing like Anita, like he's playing into it. And
of course he is.
There were so many different layers. You're like, what is that? And that's why when Drake never goes on live, he never does interviews. So when he does, you just know he's saying a bunch of shit that's going over everyone's head. And he's like, oh, they'll find it out eventually.
He definitely has a bar about like how things like hit you over time. Like you kind of like, you listen to Drake, old or new, his new stuff might not hit you, but you listen to something old and you're like, fuck, you could be 8 years fucking later and be like, oh, this was a bar. Like it didn't hit me till now. Also the power of music, but I want to stay in the music lane because I know you might have another topic. But so Kanye West got banned from Twitch after 7 minutes. Went live, was electric for 7 minutes. Called Dochi industry plant.
Dolce.
Immediately got shut down. Figures she probably was an industry plant.
I'm sure that's not the only reason they got him off.
Yeah, he was saying some shit, but like now he's on Kick. I'm telling you, Kanye is electric on live, because there was a video that surfaced today on my Twitter, and he was saying that J. Cole sucks at rap and hates J. Cole's music, and then went on to say, if you like Kendrick, you don't know anything about rap. So I'm a big fan of
the
Kanye.
J. Cole
one's
different one.
The J. Cole is a little bit slender, and I think it's just because I'll defend Kanye a little bit. I don't hate J. Cole. I respect him. I like his older stuff, like Born Sinner, Project 12 years ago. Fucking the best J. Cole ever. I'll stand on it. But you do listen to some J. Cole songs, you're like what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah,
it's kind of like Kendrick a little bit. You're like, what? Like
the
what are you taking here?
Kanye Cole thing though is runs deeper than that, because J. Cole became a rapper because of Kanye West, or was like that was his biggest influence. And then it got to a point where J. Cole made a song about how Kanye like would be like he was so great, but then when he actually like saw what was behind the curtain, he was like, oh, he's not even close to as great as I thought he was. That's where that hate comes from.
J. Cole said Kanye's not as great as he thought he was.
He idolized him as a kid.
That's anybody.
Exactly. But again, LeBron James, I could have idolized LeBron James. I could still pull the curtain back on LeBron James and be like, this motherfucker is still LeBron. Like, he's still that guy. And I think Drake is one of those people too, where it's like, you look at a guy like Drake, when you peel back the curtain, that motherfucker's been great for a long time, probably greater than we can even understand. And I think when he saw Kanye, it was less that. It was more like, okay, he's erratic, but Kanye has people writing for him. He's like, Dave Blunt's to write for me. I need Drake writing for me. So it's like Ye will take someone else's ideas and then make them perfect, but he needs that other person to collaborate with.
But that's also why Kanye's great. It's why Drake's great.
I'm not arguing with you, but I feel like Drake is more on his island with 40, and they make their thing, and they've never needed anything else. Where Kanye needs to be pulled in with all these other things, which, again, Kanye was the original mashup guy. He was the original, take this song, I'm going to mash it into something completely different and make it beautiful. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying they work in different lanes. I think J. Cole is very similar to Drake, where it's like he just is his own thing. He doesn't go on features. He doesn't do other things. He's just his guy.
I will say what started this whole topic was I've been enjoying seeing the clips of Kanye being live. But if you're an artist or a creative, we've started to do this with TikTok Live, playing backyard baseball. So if you haven't checked us out on TikTok Live and you made it this far, definitely go check us out on TikTok Live, playing backyard baseball.
And follow us on Kick and Twitch at The Real OShow 1.
Preferably Kick, because that's the one we're going to go all in on. But Joshua wanted to create Twitch. But anyways.
Well, that's still up for determine.
If you're a creative and you're an artist and you're not trying to go fucking live, I think you're just losing. Drake's about to go a fucking exclusive deal with Kick, doing a weekly stream.
But that's for gambling. That's why he's choosing Kick, is purely for gambling.
It's still personality though.
Because I sent you a clip today, and again, this is kind of getting in the weeds of it. But I sent you a clip, and the reason why I think Twitch is the way to grow is because there's been 0 people that have gone to Kick at 0 followers and become a Kai Cenat and Aiden Ross. Like, Aiden was big before he went there. He only went to Kick because he got banned from Twitch. Fuzi only went to Kick because he got banned from Twitch. Kanye West only went to Kick because he got banned from Twitch. So in my eyes, I'm like,
so let's skip a step. We're going to get banned from Twitch.
But we're not doing erratic things. I just think
How do you know?
Because there's obviously a reason why all the streamers that really, really do it are mainly Twitch. They do both. Like, I forget. I was watching Aiden Ross talk to a FaZe Rondo or Ronaldo. I forget. Ron, whatever. He's like, why are you not streaming on Twitch? He's like, I'm not too worried about it. I've built a community on here. But it's like a lot of these guys are streaming both, if not purely Twitch, because there must be an astronomically more amount of people there.
Of course.
So then why would you go to a secondary thing if all the people are there? It's like having Netflix. Everyone goes to Netflix. Now, is it great to get a spot on Apple TV? Of course it is. Of course it's great. But your amount of people that can see it are so much less. And that's why I said the studio. I plugged the studio, but I'm like, how many people actually have Apple TV? Not many. It's the same reason why people download HBO for Game of Thrones. Unless it really, really, really pushes the needle so much that everyone in culture is talking about it, it's hard to get people to actually go to that.
Great. But there's also, it's not going to just be Twitch. There's going to be 8 live streaming platforms here soon that are all relevant and all good and all similar. Twitch is obviously the winner. Twitch is the winner.
There's already a lot. Because like in my head, I'm like, there's Twitch, Kick.
Facebook hasn't perfected it. IG Live is good for about 30 seconds. YouTube Live is outside of
YouTube Live could be good.
Have it. X doesn't have one. Like, there's so many more platforms that are already way bigger than Twitch that have the social media part of it that haven't even figured out live shopping or just live streaming entertainment in real life streaming are going to figure it out. That I think trying to do Kick and or going all out on TikTok Live or all out on Facebook or all out on YouTube is smarter than trying to build on Twitch, because Twitch doesn't have the social media scroll of it. So for me, for me, I think Kick, because there is the smaller pond and there is that chance of building a little bit of a moat.
But no one's done it.
But at the end of the day, I'm not saying we're
not even Neon. Even Neon said that.
But I'm not saying we're going to be the number one streamers. It's a start to then go somewhere else.
But exactly my point is, but to me, Twitch is going to win out because Amazon, it's owned by Amazon. Amazon is going to put all these live sellers, all these people that are doing it, they're going to put them out. The only people that I think that could even compete is Meta and X. Those are the only platforms that can compete with Twitch. Nothing else will be able to compete with them. Kick will never be as big as Twitch. They're going to, the only way if it happens is if Twitch puts the clamp so hard on banning people. But clearly it's not, because look at Kai Cenat's streams, bro. He does crazy shit.
But that's because they like can't ban him.
But it doesn't matter. He's been banned before. He's been banned
he obviously hasn't been banned because he's still on Twitch. He got a fucking timeout.
But a Twitch ban is like that. You can do a 24-hour ban, then it gets back on. Then it's like it's what they call it.
Go sit in the corner. You're in timeout. Like,
but it doesn't
matter. Our third TikTok live, we got a timeout.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, there's clearly a reason. All the biggest streamers, like when I watch all the FaZe guys, when I watch all the AMP guys, they're like, if you are streaming, you have to go to Twitch. They said the only reason why you go to a Kick deal is you grow your following, and then Kick will eventually be like, hey, we'll give you way more money to come over here. And that's why they're like, but you have to build it. If you just start on Kick, you have no leverage for getting the bag. Because in Twitch, the best thing they're going to do is they're going to go, hey, here's a better split for you. So you're really starting off at the same thing. That's the only reason why I do it. I'm just saying, I think it's not a or, it's an and, but I think that looking at all these people do it.
I'd rather do neither and just go all in on YouTube or Facebook would be my actual opinion.
But Facebook, you can't do it. You can't. They don't support PC streaming. So that's the problem. So you only have your iPhone, and if you have your iPhone, now you're limited to what you can do. You can't screen share. You can't do anything, and that's half the battle.
So YouTube.
But again, YouTube, they're not really. You will get more of a chance to get fed to someone. But I think that you have to build a community that wants to watch you live. Like, for example, I'm going to give you an example here. The Yak on Barstool, they go YouTube Live. Only YouTube Live. And I think they do a great job. Barstool only does YouTube Live. But Barstool has built the moat where people will watch Clemmer fucking draft a football team, and he's the 20th 40th creator on the roster, but it's because they built the moat. I think for us, it'd be almost impossible at that rate. We would have to have so many clips going out and have to post full things. Like, we would really have to dial it in, and over time, you could maybe build it. I like the fact that we go on TikTok and try to drag people to wherever we can find them.
Well, if you made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe. Until next Friday, peace.
About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God, we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on road for greatness. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fake shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list.